Scrappy Peeps, welcome to my channel. I am here for another edition of PaperPerson Playtime, a series that I work on with my friend Sara Scraps and Khristina using the monthly kits from PaperPerson. This is the January kit, and this is my second layout that I have created with this kit. I have already created with it, so you'll see I'm using scraps for some of this. So this is one of the pattern papers from a other manufacturer that is accompanies the kit. I am fussy cutting the diamonds out. My original idea had actually been to use that same pattern of the diamond and maybe stitch on cardstock myself, but I really wanted to make this as simple, quote unquote simple. There's nothing simple about this layout. There's a lot of fussy cutting in this layout. I wanted to make it as simple as I could, so I just opted with the idea of hand stitching the X's that are in the pattern paper and mimicking that same pattern by using the pattern paper with just that simple hand stitch, which I will do later on. But that is fully my intent here, is to put some hand stitching in. So I've printed this particular paper in the Traveler's Notebook size. You get a choice some months, most months up until actually this February kit that is coming. You get a choice in what size cards you want printed. I think with this kit we got the 3x4s. Everybody got the 3x4s, and so I printed the Traveler's Notebook. That is one of the bonuses that you get, is you get the digital files for them, and as well as the digital elements. And so then I'm going to cut out the center there of the frame, and I'm going to use that to frame this photo of my husband and I playing in the snow at the end of January, very last day of January, so January 31st. I love the black and white photo with all of the color in this collection. It just really pops the colors in the collection, as well as leaves more of the emotion of the photo by converting it to black and white. So I have committed to these diamonds going down the side, and that the photo will go over in that space, sort of that gap that is left by those diamonds up there. So it creates a kind of an argyle in a way. And I'm able to salvage the pieces. You can see the bits and pieces there by just having that run over the edges of the patterned paper there. So I really like that look there. I fully intend to use all of the colors in the kit, and so I'm actually going to be very brave and cut into the 3x4 cards. This is really hard for me because I really love both sides of this particular kit. So I know I want the pink, and then I like to have a piece of pattern paper that has all of the colors that's going to pull it all together. And so for me, that is going to be the stripe that is on the back hand side of this. And so by fussy cutting these elements, which I knew I wanted to do, I knew I wasn't going to use those cards as full cards. It was going to leave me space to have small stripes of that stripe, strips of that stripe is what I should say, to pull it all together. So I'm fussy cutting out. This is an envelope and a piece of paper, and at the top of the piece of paper it says a love note, and then on the other 3x4 card it says, it's French, and it says Je t'aime, I love you, and then it has some other saying that I actually cut out because it is not the actual translation. It's just a funny translation of that. But I liked those fussy cut elements. There were not a whole lot of embellishments. In fact, there were no embellishments, and really the stamps didn't provide for a whole lot of embellishments because it's a make your own calendar. And so by fussy cutting the elements, I was able to get more embellishments. Also with the kit this month, there were 2 gold foiled vellum pieces, and you saw that one that says "You're my number one," and so I'm going to cut that out and use that as the title of my layout. So I've already threaded my needle with embroidery floss here and tied off the knot. I literally just randomly poked squares into this to create the X's to mimic the look that is in the patterned paper itself, but this way I'm able to add a little bit more color to unite both sides of the page, as well as utilize all colors on both sides of the page as well. This page is pretty much divided left and right, and then I'm going to journal in the middle between the left-hand side and the right-hand side to just sort of pull the two sides, the two halves together. So I've trimmed down the card there, but I really don't like the way that it reads and it kind of juts out into that space. I wanted that white space down the middle where I'm going to end up journaling, and so I have to, I'm toying with how I'm going to fix that. So another one of the 3x4 cards is that I love you. It's very much a tone on tone. In the photos, it looks a lot more washed out than it actually is. And I want to use that again as embellishment. I know it's words, but by cutting it apart, I can space it into that really bright pink there, red pink, and then put another one on the left-hand side, and that provides some unity because you find the same element on the left-hand side as you find on that right-hand side there. So this is where I decide I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to cut this all up. As much as I loved it as a 3x4 card, it doesn't work with the way that I have structured the layout so far. And so in order to keep the symmetry between the left side and the right hand side and almost have a column on each side, but yet have this as the title, I'm going to cut the words apart there. I am not the neatest scrapper, and so I do try and clean up as I go so you don't get distracted by all of the things on my desk. And so that is, you'll see me periodically just sort of pushing garbage. I have a garbage can directly below my scrap space here on this right hand side, and so I just sort of shove it down into the garbage there. So I like that much better. It works better, and it keeps it nice and neat in that column on the left hand side. So this is where I decide, okay, I've got that hot pink, I've got the blue, I've got the green. Now I need a little bit of that lighter pink, and so I'm going to go with that French saying there, and it works perfectly with the envelope, envelope, however you choose to say that word. It goes very well over there, and it brings that uniting color to that side of the page. So the journaling isn't so much about this particular incident as it just is about my relationship with my husband and where we stand currently. You can see all of the embellishments are about love. I love you, a love note, you are my number one, and so that's what the journaling in the middle is, and I think you'll be able to see that in the close-ups. So again, I have that stripe on the right hand side, and I want to have a similar stripe on the left hand side, so I just used the remainder of what was torn and put that over there. And I like the way that that white edge and the torn strip sort of add a softness to the rigidity of the diamonds and the sharp edges that I've got there. It just kind of tones that down a little bit. And so I could have just left this as it is once I stuck the title down and called it good, but I felt like I needed, because the photo was black and white, that I needed a little bit more black on the layout. And so I'm going to take care of that by fussy cutting another one of the pattern papers that comes with the collection. So it is not one that is made by Kelly, or I don't believe Kelly actually made this collection. She had another designer, but it's not made by PaperPerson. It is a, I want to say it's a crepe paper, paper that I'm cutting up. So I am popping up some of these elements. Again, just I like to have dimension on my page, and so by popping it off of that very bright color, it sort of subdues that and tones that down a little bit. I like the brightness, but I also need it to not be the center focal point. I want my title, my picture to be the center focal point there. So this is the inside of the frame that I have cut out, and I feel like I don't have enough blue over there, so I'm going to punch out, this is a old Martha Stewart punch that's just florals. and punch out some florals to incorporate some blue into the left-hand side of this. So again, the kit does not have a whole lot of embellishments, so I used a lot of pattern paper to create my own embellishments here. I will off camera use some teeny tiny old Imaginis enamel dots to put in the center of those flowers, again just to give it a little bit more visual interest and pop of color, and that really pulls it together nicely. So I'm going to double layer here the big flower with the little flower, and then that enamel dot, and you'll see it in the close-ups, goes into the center there. And I really like the way that this incorporates the blue from the left-hand side and the stripy strip into a little bit more over here. It definitely needed that for balance and unity across both halves of the page. I love this fine tip applicator from ThermoWeb for such fine detail work as this. I really find it works a whole lot better than the fine tip applicator that I was using with my Scotch tacky glue. I also find that things stick much better with this. So this is not part of the kit. This is some Illustrated Faith that I pulled. It's just washi tape and it's got little stars on it. Again, a little bit more pattern to add to the paper. Also not from the kit, this is from my stash. These are word salad stickers, so cardstock sticker words from Bella Boulevard. And again, I felt like I wanted to pull a little bit more of the aqua into that right hand side, and so that little word that just says my love does that perfectly. So I'm going to incorporate the stamp set from this month in very simply. So this is just basically it's a rectangle, a divided rectangle, and so then I will use the date stamps from the stamp that says one that says documenting, that'll be in the top, and then the long word at the bottom says 2021, and I'll write the date actually in the empty rectangle that is on the right hand side there. I'm doing this on just white cardstock. It doesn't match the exact white because I'm working on a textured basil, and that is just a white, plain white basil, I think, and so they don't match 100%, but they match close enough. I'm also going to use a stamp set from, I believe it's actually from Kelly Perky. It was from the Black Friday sale that says "This is us," and I'm going to stamp that in the middle of the love note letter there in black, again to incorporate a little bit of black into the layout. You haven't seen the flowers that I was referencing earlier, but they are coming up. So just finishing this off and letting this dry to add the date to it and feel like I'm using all of the kit. Really, these kits are awesome in that I actually finish using them. I don't have leftovers, and I love that the stamps are usable across multiple pages. I've used them in Traveler's Notebooks a fair amount too. So that is vellum, and with vellum I like to use, this is a Webster's, it's actually for planners. It's a planner pen, I think, glue pen is what they call it, but it dries clear and you can't see the adhesive behind, which I really like. And so it comes in 3 colors, I think, blue, yellow, and pink, and I just happened to use the blue one because that's what I had at hand. So this is the other shot of black that I'm referencing, and this is definitely much more embellishment so it's pattern paper used to create an embellishment. And I'm sorry, I fast forward through all of the fussy cutting because otherwise this video was something like 24 minutes long. It was ridiculous, and there is an awful lot of fussy cutting in this layout. So that I am also going to off camera, because I do a lot of that, add a couple of puffy sticker hearts as well as a chipboard piece. And again, just to sprinkle in a little bit more color, I'm also going to splatter just a tiny amount of mist. It's actually Heidi Swap Shine, just to add a little bit of color to the center there, as well as journal down the center. So don't forget to head over to Sara Scraps and Khristina's or Redefine Creatives channels and see how they use this kit, and then come back in 2 weeks to see how we use the February kit. That'll be the first of 2 videos creating with the February PaperPerson kits. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. If you have any questions about the kits, please don't hesitate to leave them in the box down below.